What it do, what it do. Welcome into the Common Fan. I'm Austin Dunston here with Nathan Massey. Nathan, what's good, bro?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing all right. If you guys notice, if we did this the correct way, we're on YouTube. Wave at the camera. Hi, YouTube. Hello, everyone. But if we didn't, you're just listening to this and we sound stupid. But we worked really hard to do this. Hopefully there's a nice overlay. We look like we're in the bullpen, even though we're not. A lot of work went into this. So if this doesn't work, bro, sorry, we're probably just going to cut this part out.
Yeah, we can't say we didn't try.
Exactly. It's all about effort, man. I got a nice little ring light right here. Look like a TikTok boy. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it looks good. Like the lighting is it's definitely better on your end than mine. I'm moved back into my college apartment for the last semester of this year, and you can tell that lighting just isn't a premium. So I tried to I turned off lights and turned on lights all throughout like my room to see what would look the best, and that's
what you came up with.
Yeah, it's not the brightest, but it's the best. It makes everything like look okay.
Yeah, I feel you. I just got lucky and found this, and I was like, I'm going to try this because we actually attempted to record this yesterday. So usually we post on Wednesdays, but this is coming up on a Thursday because we had so many technical difficulties. Everything looked terrible yesterday. We couldn't figure out the internet. It was just bad. But here we are.
I was a robot, apparently.
Yeah, it was crazy. I should drop in a recording of what you sounded like because it was terrifying. And if it happens again, you'll see me jump, right? Like yeah. You'll see and you'll know because you'll hear it too. But as of right now, everything's going smoothly. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get into some sports, I guess. Let's start with the Titans, man. What happened? What happened?
I think I wouldn't say the first time this year, but definitely for the biggest time this year, our offense let us down as a whole in the sense that our defense played well enough, got turnovers, got more sacks almost in this game than we've gotten at any 3-week stretch the whole season. We got 4 of them, I'm pretty sure. An interception from Malcolm Butler and everything, and we put up 13 points. And I think that there were some interesting decisions made by Mike Vrabel, and I just don't. Some I agree with, some I definitely don't.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. You have to be talking about the 4th and 1 when we decided to punt it back to Lamar and the Ravens.
Yeah. And I don't agree with that move. And I mean, I guess I understand our defense had been playing well that game. We've played well defensively against the Ravens the last few times we've played them. We trust our offense, even though we were having a bad day. We are very capable of, like we saw against the Texans last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago as of now. And we can put up points very quickly. So I know that he probably felt with, I think it was 8 or 9 or so whatever minutes left, that we could score at least once in the next, hopefully, couple of possessions we got. Ended up not being able to do that. Didn't work out in our favor. And you always look worse when it doesn't work. Because if you do the same idea and then we get the ball back and score, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But we didn't score, so it didn't work. Now everybody's mad.
I agree. The thing that bothered me, though, was just it seemed like Vrabel was playing at that point not to lose instead of to win the ball game, which is really out of character for Vrabel. I feel like all season he had played to win. They'd made the moves to win. And whenever the Titans didn't go for it on 4th and 1 right there, I looked to my right and was like, Dad, we just lost this football game because of that right there. I mean, what do you have to lose at that point? You're in opponent's territory. You haven't really stopped Lamar you've stopped him, yeah, but you're not going to totally shut him down, right? But right. So you've got to assume that Lamar is going to make a Lamar play either way, no matter where he's at. And I get the idea behind it, but in the postseason, I feel like that's a go for it 10 times out of 10. You try to go for that right there.
Especially when it was 4th and 2 and I'm pretty sure that was the drive where obviously we all know Derrick Henry got slowed down, almost stopped for Derrick Henry.
Essentially, for Derrick Henry, they shut him down.
Yeah. So he had gotten his biggest run of the game. He got a first down run, got 8 yards.
Oh, yeah.
We then actually have 3 plays to get 2 yards. And I know, like we just said, he hadn't been running well. But I understand maybe taking a shot on 2nd and 2, hoping to get a big play or even a big pickup, something, maybe a touchdown. But then if you do that, you have to understand that your 3rd and 4th down plays are both going to be runs with Derrick Henry, and you're going to get 2 yards. It's almost automatic with him that you're going to get the 2 yards you need. I can't remember the last time we were on the goal line or we were like in a 4th and short or something, and we just straight up didn't get a yard and a half or a yard or 2 yards or whatever it may be with this offense. And it's just insane. I think it may have only happened like one other time this year. And I'm pretty sure we threw like almost a screen pass to Aaron Brewer, our 3rd string left guard or whatever. So like that, I understand, but you have to be able to understand the situation, the point of the game where we're at. You have to give Derrick Henry the ball at least twice in the next 3 plays.
Yeah, it's kind of the situation that they fell into last year in the AFC Championship game. We got down and excuse me, and we couldn't run. And this is a run first offense, right? But the difference is in this game, we were right there in it. And we had the opportunity to run the football on a 2nd and 2, and then again on a 3rd and 2, and we decided to throw.
Yep.
From the outside looking in, man, it looks so obvious, right? Yeah. And like you said, it always looks dumb if you're wrong. But I feel like from the inside, you kind of have to see that one coming, man. Save that pass play for maybe the 4th and 1 later that you're going to have. Run it at least one more time with Derrick. He just got you 8 yards. The odds of him getting you 1 more or 2 more are pretty freaking high considering he's 6'8", you know?
Yeah.
There's just so many things. There's just so many. Exactly. He could fall forward and get 2 yards. Even if he gets 1, that's a QB sneak from Tannehill all day, and he gets those 9 times out of 10. It's just so many questionable things about it, and I hated, bro. I hated seeing the Ravens stomp on the logo because, yes, wow, the Titans in Big Trust or whatever, they stood on the logo before the game. You know, that's what caused Vrabel to get waved off by Harbaugh after the game because we were on the logo, whatever. But we didn't go out there and jump on it and stomp on it like a bunch of idiots. It wasn't. It was a little bit disrespectful. Like, we kind of deserved that. I get it. But to the extent they took it, man, I just cannot stand the Ravens, dude. I can't stand it.
No, I hate it too. And see, the thing with me is of what I understand about what happened with the original us being on their logo thing, I'm pretty sure we do that every game. It's more of
They do it every single game.
Like, hey, we're going to meet up in the middle. Essentially, like when we played high school ball together, when we stretched, we took up the entire left center, right center, whatever dugout we were in. And we never meant it as disrespect, but that's just what we did. That's how we stretched. That's what we did every game. If you took offense to it, you took offense to it, which happened a few times here and there, but we never meant it as disrespect. It's just what we did. So when they got there, I think it'd be different if everybody was like, all the Titans were out there like stomping, spitting, yelling at the sidelines while they're doing it. And the only time that it got notoriety was when the Ravens took a problem with it. And that's fine. That's okay. That's their logo. They can do what they want. But I do think that it was kind of blown out of proportion of like everybody, oh, they stomped our logo because we stomped on theirs. Like, no, we didn't stomp on theirs.
Exactly.
We were out there meeting as an entire team. It's just the meaning behind it is different, in my opinion. And if you disagree, that's fine, whatever, and we'll move on. Hopefully, we'll get them next year.
By the way, big dog alpha move by Vrabes there to go and shake Harbaugh's hand afterward. I mean,
no doubt.
because Harbaugh got super butthurt and didn't even shake his hand, bro. And Vrabes just wore it like a champ, dude. Went up, shook his hand, looked him right in the eye, said, "Good game." I bet that made Harbaugh just kind of shrink a little bit. He's like, "Dang, now I look like even more of an idiot."
I gotta say something. I gotta bring something up. Okay, so I am not a huge Ravens guy, especially after last week. I really don't like him in general. It's kind of one of those things where we beat them, so I didn't necessarily hate them. And now that they beat us, I don't have very much like for them at all. But I have to respect Lamar Jackson because if you watched the game and you watched after the game, he had the post-game interview, as all player of the games and all that good stuff happens. And he went up there, and the reporter, I can't remember which one it was, she asked, like, essentially, this was Lamar Jackson running versus Derrick Henry running. And it looks like you won. And Lamar stopped her and said, no, this was not Lamar versus Derrick. This was Titans versus Ravens. This is a rivalry now, pretty much, whatever. But he made it about his team. He didn't make it about himself. He didn't make it about how poorly Derrick had played. He said this is the Ravens versus the Titans. And I wasn't a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I appreciate what he does on the football field, but I just wasn't a huge fan of him. And he gained a lot of respect for me after the post game or after the game the other day in the post game interview. I have to give him props on that.
Yeah, I agree. I've always liked Lamar, man. I think he's a baller. You know, they always say, "Oh, he's a running back playing quarterback." Well, it's kind of true, but he's had success doing it. You know, and playing in his game. And I always love a good silence the doubters type guy. So
Yeah.
I've always had respect for Lamar, man. But the rest of the Ravens, dude, oh God, I can't stand them. I can't. And it just bothers me. You know, it's kind of the same level of hate as I do with the Steelers, who got waxed by Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Boy, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, who saw that one coming? Because it sure was not me.
No, I have no clue. I was at my buddy's house the other day. We were watching the games, and one of my friends got up and he's like, "I'm gonna go take a shower real quick before this game gets started." We were like, "Okay." He may miss part of the first quarter, whatever. He goes and takes a shower, comes out like towards the end of the first quarter, and he walks out. Or when he went in, it was 0-0. When he walks out, it's 28-0. And he's like, "How long was I in there?" And we were like, "Not very long, but apparently long enough for 28 points to be put on the board."
They came to life.
Yeah,
I
and I
mean,
mean, things
there's
could
just no other way to put it. So, sorry, what did you say?
I was sorry. I was just saying that things could not have gone better for the Browns to start that game.
Exactly. And on the other hand, things could not have gone worse for the Steelers. I mean, literally first snap over Big Ben's head into the end zone, touchdown Browns.
Yeah.
Literally, essentially, they gave the Browns a 7-point head start.
Pretty much gave him the ball to start both halves.
Literally. I mean, that's what it amounted to. And bro, at least Juju stopped dancing on the logos, bro. At least he's not doing that anymore. But I know that team just they have to be so butthurt at Juju, man. Because
I
as
just don't.
because as soon as he started making that like a big deal, that's when the wheels fell off of the Steelers. He'd been doing it all season, but it wasn't like a big thing until
Yeah.
they started losing, bro. It was just like straight downhill.
I just don't. I think that the TikTok thing kind of took a life of its own in the media more than it did with the Steelers, is my opinion on this. I think that like it happened. And I mean, obviously all the Steelers knew they were doing it. Like Chase Claypool's on there now, Deontay Johnson's on there. Like they all have their pages. They all have got their thousands of followers, whatever. TikTok, as far as TikTok goes, at least, Juju's definitely the biggest one. Claypool probably pretty close behind him. But yeah, we all know it's Juju's thing. But I don't really know why everybody made such a big deal of it, in my opinion. And like,
It
yeah,
was
we've talked about it.
stupid, bro. It was so
It was dumb.
dumb.
It
It's
was so
so
dumb, and
it's
I
so,
just don't understand why they would make it such a big deal, and
I
it
don't
just
know,
blew out of
bro.
proportion. And it did have terrible like coincidence that like as soon as he got really big into it and everybody made a big deal about it, they started playing really poorly.
Yeah,
But a lot of the experts had predicted that they were fraudulent from the start of the season. So I think it just
yeah.
didn't work out for Juju.
Perhaps the worst 11-0 team in NFL history.
Oh, ever. And the sad part is we lost to him.
Yeah. Yeah, we also lost to the Browns. We also lost to the Bengals. Let's just not go into that. Okay.
Let's just not go to the AFC North
Exactly. How about, dude?
and the Ravens. We checked every box.
Yeah, we absolutely
We
did.
lost to all four AFC North teams this year. I didn't even think about that till just now.
Well, let's just not talk about it. Let's talk about how about did you see what Chase Claypool said on like his Instagram live?
I did not. What did he
Bro,
say?
I think it was Chase Claypool. Uh but he was talking about the Browns, man. He's like, man, whatever, dog. They about to get clapped by the Chiefs anyway.
Are you serious?
Bro, did you not see that for real?
No, all I heard was the Browns thing from Juju. I hadn't heard about Claypool saying that.
Yeah, dude, he was on his Instagram live and people were dogging him. He was like, whatever, man, they about to get clapped anyway. So dang, I can't remember who it was on the Browns, but they signed a miniature helmet. Oh, I can't remember who it was. It doesn't matter, but they signed a miniature helmet and just said Browns 30 or 48, Steelers 38 or 37 or whatever it was, and just at the bottom it just said clapped them.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Bro,
You got
what a
respect that.
troll. I don't remember who it was, man. It had to be like Jarvis. It had to be Jarvis or somebody like that. But yeah, but who goes on? Why you're in the NFL? I get you're a rookie, but like you're in the NFL, man. You can't be doing that stuff. That just makes you look like, especially on the Steelers, who already look so bad because of Juju, and then Chase Claypool, who's like, the next coming of, Antonio Brown or whatever. He's going to be really good. Bottom line, he comes out and he drops a dumb remark. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and to back that up, like I was saying, like the Browns is the Browns thing. And then, by the way, I want to say this before we get off the whole TikTok thing. I did think that it was absolutely hilarious that the Browns were in the locker room playing Corvette, or whatever the name of the song.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think the little tiny helmet
Did
said Corvette too, as well.
it really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I think that that's hilarious that they took that and that was what they ran with. Like, it couldn't have been more perfect. If you're gonna do it in your juju, you have to understand that that's gonna happen afterwards. Like that stuff
Oh
will
yeah.
always happen.
You can't dish it out if you can't take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And that's in anything in life, man. There's nothing worse. And I'm pretty bad about it. I hate getting clowned on, even though I do a lot of clowning, bro. But you can't dish it out what was that look, huh?
You do clown a lot, and I'm usually at the butt end of the joke.
Bro, it's just for content, though. I never.
Okay.
I do every time Massey calls me, I answer the phone and I'm like, "What?" And what is that
And
clap
I hate
for?
that more than anybody because if I call you, I'm not saying you have to be excited to talk to me, but don't just act like it's some big deal that you have to talk to me. And so I tell everybody else in the world, and they'll be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, like, what's up?" With Dunston, his suit, he's like, "Vroom, what?" And I'm like, it got to a point for a long time. If he answered the phone call and he said what, I would just hang up on him, and I would have to call back.
Bro, but I don't do it because it's bothersome that you call me. I do it because usually I'm around people and I'm like, watch, I'm about to answer this and say what. Usually it's like my mom or something. And she's like, be nice to Nathan. I'm like, Nathan, he's fine. He'll be okay. Massey's really good about it. Massey's very good at taking crap. Like, you're very good at it. That's also why I do it.
Yeah, I usually just like to brush it off. I've always been a big believer in if you feed into it, that's when it'll happen more, and it'll actually get like more personal. And I've seen it play out that way for a lot of people. So most of the time, if that stuff happens to me, I'm just like, okay, that sounds cool.
Okay,
And
yeah, that's a little
okay,
a little reference to bussing with the boys there. Okay, I love that, man. That's genius. I saw, yeah, always repping. I'm all, bro. How about that right there? You know, it's a shame, dude.
What?
If you'll notice behind me, I think it's like ESPN. I'm probably gonna get copyrighted for this. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not, if this isn't on YouTube, I'm so sorry. But behind me is like ESPN. I think it's a rerun of the national championship. But yesterday, I had the rerun of the Arkansas and Tennessee football game going, and I wasn't going to address it. But then I watched the entire game, and I just didn't want to put it back up there. I was like, whatever. But that would have been a nice little troll, I feel like. Maybe a little bit of hate. I don't know.
Okay, I have a question.
I would love to answer your question.
Was that just conveniently on TV, or did you go like find that and put that up there?
100% planned.
Okay.
100%. 100%. I went into my my DVR recordings, and I was like, I'm about to throw this on back here, just to see if anybody notices. But then we ran into a bunch of technical difficulties.
I expect nothing less from you whatsoever. That was a fully planned thing, but I thought maybe, just maybe, that was just like a convenient happenstance that's on the TV. You're like, oh yeah, I just got to put this on there.
Yeah, no, I definitely 100% planned that. Anyway, all that to say, you can't run your mouth, you can't dance on logos, you can't do all this and expect no retaliation when you lose. This kind of doubles back on what I just said about the Titans and the Ravens. I'm just not realizing. But that's kind of different because they took it overboard, right? The jabs back at Juju were definitely like on par. They were equal. But like the Ravens stomping on the logo versus the Titans standing on the logo, like Jim Harbaugh, not shaking hands, that's on a different level.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think something like what you said earlier, I think it shows the respect that our organization has, where all that stuff happened. We didn't have a bench clearing brawl or nothing like what happened in the Mississippi State game. Yes, I know everybody that knows I'm a State fan texted me about it, but we didn't have that happen. Vrabel still went out there, shook the hand. They understand that these things happen and the game still goes on. And there's nothing nothing about them going out there to fight or to have a big deal about it was going to change what just happened. It wasn't going to change the game. So they understand, just shake the hand, go in the locker room, start planning for next year, which sucks to say, but it's the reality.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and dive into actually the college football playoff, how things played out. And we're going to talk about some poll questions. Okay. So if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We put out TCF poll questions and we're going to start discussing them, see what you guys think, get you guys a little more, interaction with us. Also, we have another little thing planned, but we'll go into all that after this break. We'll be right back. Common Fan is brought to you by Walt's Free Hand Sanitizing Lotion. It protects you up to 4 times longer than gel and won't crack or dry your hands. Try it out at store.avcare.com. Welcome back into the Common Fan. Be sure to check out store.avcare.com. Use code TCF20 for 5% off your purchase. Support the brand. Support the boys. Okay? Walt's free. That 5% comes back to us, so we can do more things for you guys. Yeah, money.
Help us make it fun. Help us make it fun, please.
Please, dude. Please help us make this fun. I mean, well, it's already fun. I have a great time doing it.
Yeah, no, it's already fun. Don't get the wrong idea from that.
No, we hate it here, bro.
We hate it. No, but the more y'all contribute, the more fun it is for us, the more fun it is for y'all, the more we can do and try and all that good stuff and grow the podcast. So do what you can to help us, and I promise you we will make it worth it.
Absolutely. Also, another thing, I'm going to take a little page out of Bussin' with the Boys. Take a little page out. Tell your friends about us, right? Go ahead and leave 5-star review. Tell your friends, because the way we spread, in the words of Will Compton, is by word of mouth, In one of those Progressive or AT&T commercials, they're like, before there was cable, it was word of mouth. That's what we need you guys to do. We need you guys to go tell your friends. What?
That is literally on behind you.
Oh, my God. This isn't planned. Yes, just like they say in this commercial, bro. Word of mouth advertising. Can't get much better than that, dog.
I don't know if that's the exact one, but that's the same lady.
No, I'm pretty sure it is, bro. That's insane. Okay. Well, you guys get the point. Tell your friends about us, okay?
And I'll take a page out of Pat McAfee's book real quick. If you listen to it and you don't like it, it's fine. It's gone. You never have to listen to us again. Don't tell anybody. Don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Nothing. Leave it on the down low. We'll keep it between us that you listened and you didn't like it. But
that's fine.
If you do, let everybody else know. If you don't, keep your mouth shut. We appreciate it.
Also, you know what? We're gonna go before we go into college football playoff. Let's go ahead and drop this little knowledge nugget on people. I don't know if it's really a knowledge nugget, but what we've come up with. Okay, this is just an idea. All right, you might hate it, you might not. You might be all for it, but we'll find out right now. Okay, so what we're gonna start to do, okay, is we are going to call you guys, the fans. I don't even want to call you fans. Our friends. You're our friends. Okay? We want to call you guys, the common fans, on the podcast, okay? So, like, say we're talking about the college football playoff, and we just want to see what somebody thinks, bro. We want to call you. So, if you want to be on the Common Fan, if you want to be a part of the show, which I would love, I think Massey would love, why don't you can go ahead and DM us on Twitter, or if that doesn't work, go to Instagram and DM us. We'll get to it, but just say, hey, I would love to be on your podcast call-out session. Okay, we're going to work with you. We're going to get your number. We might even call you next show if you want to, but just let us know. Massey, what do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea. I think that it'll help us get some more content, get y'all more involved, and I think that'll be fun for us and fun for y'all. We get outside opinions, which we don't obviously get very often unless all the boys are back together. And also, if you're one of those people that just wants the clout from it, you come on the show. We've got some followers on Twitter and Instagram, and we tag you in it and say, guest appearance, bada bing, bada boom. There's a couple more followers for you. It's nothing easier. All you got to do is take a phone call, answer a few questions.
All right. Here's the rules, though. The rules are as follows, okay? You have to give us content. All right? You have to be funny. All right? Maybe not even funny. You have to be like well versed in the topic that we're calling you in, okay? And if you're not, that's fine. We'll just cut it. But number 2, you can't say anything that we can't put on the air, bro. You can't like start going off on some tangent and dropping F-bombs and all that jazz. I mean, this isn't against the odds. We don't do that here. This is family friendly, okay? With that being said, guys, we would absolutely love to have you on the pod. Absolutely love it. So go over to Instagram, go over to Twitter, tweet at us, DM us, and we'll get it all set up, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be really fun. And now if nobody DMs us, I'm just about to start calling people at random. Okay, that's what's going to have to happen. I don't want that to happen. So just help us out. All right. So with that,
if you're close to us, just be ready. Be on call. We may just randomly call you.
It's possible. We did it last week with Matt, bro, and he was ready. He knew what was up immediately. What's up, guys? You know, he had COVID and all that, but he was ready. So everybody, and it can be at any time. So just If you give us your number, just know if you get a phone number from a 615 or a phone call from a 615 number, pick it up and be ready to talk sports or anything really for that matter.
There's no telling. Whatever is cool that's happening,
yeah,
it's going to be on.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and get in the college football playoff, man. It's going on behind me. Alabama smacks Ohio State. I thought it was going to be close. I actually thought Ohio State had a legitimate chance just because last time they were in this position, no one gave them a shot. They ended up beating Bama by, I think, like 2 touchdowns, at least 2 possessions. This time, clearly not the case. Massey, why don't you go into it?
All right, so I'm just going to start with just this game in particular. We will work through the whole thing as I fumble through words. We will work through the whole thing here in a minute. But essentially what happened was Alabama is still Alabama. It's what we all thought that they were. They are who we thought they were. That's the good old quote. But they showed up. They showed out. Devontae Smith had a career game and a half.
Yeah.
And then got hurt. And I heard the Saban interview. He wanted to come back in. They wouldn't let him. They couldn't get his finger popped back in just right.
Oof.
All that good stuff. The kid's a freak. He's going to be the first receiver taken off the board. If he's not, I'll be very surprised. But he's a good ball player. Him and Najee Harris and Mac Jones and the offensive line, the defense played pretty solid. I mean, they dominated from the first snap of the year to the last snap of the year, and it wasn't even remotely close. And I don't even think any of their ball game. I don't think that they had a 1-possession game all year.
I think they only ended up beating Florida by 6.
Was it?
In the SEC championship, maybe.
Okay, then shout out Florida. You did it what no one else could do.
Exactly, bro. That means that you could literally you could have given Bama a double-digit lead in every single game this year or be down double digits, to start every game this year, and they still would have won them all, except for Florida in the SEC championship.
And most of those games by quite a lot too. So.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even close. I mean, I can't think of Ole Miss played them pretty well for a while.
Yeah, got out of hand there, but with a good game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it just and that kind of. Well, I guess we didn't put this poll question out there, so let's just go ahead and talk about this. Actually, we'll talk about this later. First, let's get into the whole college football playoff this year. What was your takeaway from it?
I mean, I think it is pretty much unsaid at this point. We all have the same idea that the college football playoff is a great idea. The execution isn't all the way there. We're not going to go back into a 20-minute tangent about who all should be in and who shouldn't and the 8-team playoff. Y'all know our thoughts on that. We're not going to go far back into it. But I saw this tweet the other day. I can't remember who it was from, and I don't know the exact numbers, but it was essentially like 6 out of the 20-something games or something like that have been less than a double-digit win, and most of them have been 20 or more or something crazy like that. So essentially, we're just putting these great college football teams out there every year, and only 1 or 2 of them shows up to actually be great is what it ends up being. It's getting kind of old at this point. It's getting kind of boring. It's going to be Alabama. It's going to be Clemson. It's going to be Ohio State. And then you're going to have a 4th team in there that everybody's going to say doesn't deserve to be there. It should be X team. And they end up getting blown out. The other one on the other side beats the other good one. And then the 2 play. And one of them is just either healthier or just overall way better than everybody else in college football. So with that said, I enjoy watching football. Big football guy. Clearly, we talk about it all the time. I don't mind watching it, but I know for viewership, it can't be that great for the games to continue to go on like this. And I know there's nothing you can do with it. It's not like the NFL where the worst team gets the higher draft picks and it eventually kind of all ebbs and flows throughout the league on who's good and who's not. So there's got to be something, but I don't even know if there is a good answer to level the playing field for these guys because it's just absolutely unfair. For example, the past 2 years, what LSU put on the field and what Alabama put on the field, nobody was even close. It wasn't even remotely close.
Yeah, I mean, it was borderline unstoppable. You look at Alabama this year, excuse me, Devontae Smith, he goes down, right? Oh, well, they got Najee Harris. Oh, they got a Heisman quarterback. I mean, they have a defense that finally showed up toward the end of the season. Like, they just have weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons. And, Jalen Waddle was in there. Good for him, by the way. Good on Jalen Waddle being out for the whole season and being able to come back for the championship. And he was limping and he wasn't to full potential. But, man, it takes a lot of guts to go out there and perform that way. But what I'm getting at is it's just at some point it's just kind of not fair. And I'm a big, oh, we'll just get better kind of guy. You know that. Like, if you suck, oh, okay, we'll do better, right? But, like, it just feels like there is no doing better. There is no just get better anymore. It's redundant. It's the same thing every year. There's no bowl games even are just starting to suck, man. People don't watch bowl games as much anymore. I mean, what do we got to do to save college football? Because at this point, it's just becoming not fun to watch. I mean, unless you're watching your team, I will always support the Hogs 100%. I don't care when they're playing, who they're playing, where they're playing. I'm going to watch the Razorbacks play. But if the Razorbacks aren't on that TV right there, I just find myself, unless I have money on the game, which I've retired from gambling, by the way. Shout out to me. Very good choice for thank you. Yeah, I've officially retired. But if I don't have money on the game, if the Hogs aren't on the TV, if the Titans aren't on the TV, it's not the Super Bowl, I'm not that interested. Even in that national championship going on right there, I didn't really care. What do we got to do to save the game, Massey? What do we got to do?
All right, I'm going to say something that we're in SEC country, and I don't know if a lot of people are going to agree with this, but this is my thoughts on this, okay? College football was better when everyone is good, okay? Yeah. Like I just said, you've got Alabama out of the SEC / maybe an LSU, maybe a Florida here and there. But you have Alabama right now. You have Clemson. You have Ohio State. Then occasionally you have your Notre Dames that beat the crap out of people in the regular season, haven't had all that great of success in the postseason as of late. But we can't not act like football wasn't more fun to watch when the Big 12 was good or when the Pac-12 was good. When you had a Texas, you had a better Oklahoma team coming out. You had USC back in the day, at least for our age, for back in the day, USC teams. It just football is better when those teams are good. So hopefully, what is it? Sarkisian got hired at Texas, right? Like last week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Sarkisian will be at Texas.
So hopefully, as Sam Ellinger says, Texas will be back. Hopefully. Because I think, as crazy as it sounds, as much as we all blow it off because they've said it for 10 years now and they've not been back once. They win one game, say they're back, and then they lose the next week to Kansas State. But at the end of the day, you just have to have parity for games to be good. That's why the NFL is so good. Like, we even joked about on our podcast one week where I absolutely said the Jets will lose this week. They showed up. They beat the team that they shouldn't have beat. But you know what? That makes it fun. You have to watch some of these games if you're a big enough football fan, just in general, to watch the games, to see what happens, because you don't know what's going to happen. You never know on any given Sunday. That's the saying, any given Sunday. You know why they don't say any given Saturday? Because there's a clear step between the top 2 and 3 teams, and like years like this year, there is the 1 team, there is the 2 through 6 range, and then there's 7 through 212 or whatever, however many teams are in the FBS. It's just crazy. The amount of non-parity, I don't even know if that's a thing that happens in college football right now, but somebody somewhere outside of the SEC and ACC and Ohio State has to get good. I mean, has to get better and at least make it fun to watch again. Because, like, I remember when we were growing up, Oregon was always good, always fun to watch, no matter who they were playing.
Yeah, Boise State was good, bro. Random. Boise State was good.
Yeah, so you had these teams out of the Mountain West Conference, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the SEC. You didn't know who was going to beat who. And there's occasionally a bowl upset, but we don't get any classic matchups like the Boise State, Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl with the Statue of Liberty. We don't get those anymore because, like I said, there is such a huge step between the Power 5 teams and the non-Power 5 teams, and even as more specific as the top 2 teams from each conference and everyone else. And it's just insane. I don't know how it's gotten that bad, but it's overall just gotten terrible.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I mean, essentially what you're saying, though, is just, get better, right? And I know you would not – yeah, that's just kind of like the gist of it. It's like other teams have to get better. Like, it just has to happen. But it's almost – it seems like it's impossible that Alabama's not going to be at the top or, Clemson's not going to be at the top. It's just I don't know. All these big recruits go to these Alabamas and Clemsons. I mean, My gosh, freaking! You know what needs to happen, bro? They need to treat college football. There's no way this could ever work. But just hear me out, bro. They need to treat college football like they treat the NFL. Pay the players, give them a salary cap. Okay, then maybe I know it would never ever work, but if for some reason that could work, it would be awesome, bro. There's no telling who would be good. You couldn't have a Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, and the Mac Jones on the same team, bro. You couldn't have 2 Heisman finalists on the same team. Now I know that's not possible, but in theory, it would work to perfection, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds great. I think even if you did run into a team with a Najee Harris, Mac Jones, and Devontae Smith on it, they would only be there for 2 or 3 years, and then that salary cap would everybody else on the team A wouldn't be as good as they could be. B, you just can't keep them around for that long because you'll run out of money. So then the teams that didn't pay those 3 guys and have an overall better team will either A, get beat by them because those 3 guys just absolutely dominated the game, or B, they'll beat the crap out of them because it's only those 3 guys and they have no help around them. So, yeah, I mean, I think in theory, that's a great answer.
Bro, you know what? I just kind of had a light bulb go off, bro. So if they imagine this, if they had to pay players, if they started to pay players, right, there would have to be some sort of salary cap in a sense, right? There you hear this is how much you can pay your players, and this is it. And say you've already promised this person, you've got them signed to this contract, right? And you want to come here, but you can't make as much money as if you were to go over here and play. That's pretty interesting. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it sounds good.
It makes a little bit of sense, right?
Yeah, you definitely have to have a cap because if not, then it'd just be whoever has the biggest booster.
Exactly, right.
Which obviously, like a team like Oregon, who one of their boosters is obviously the CEO of Nike or whatever position he holds at Nike, they would just win every national championship because that dude's probably one of the most loaded boosters out there. I know, don't yell at me if you have some big booster that you're aware of for some random team. Congrats, you're right. But
Jerry Jones.
I can think of. Yeah, okay. See, so like he's got one in mind, but still, that's what it would boil down to is whoever has the one richest booster out there, that's the team that would win the national championship every single time. So, I mean, in theory, again, we're talking in theory, we know this will never happen. But if you could pull something like that off and cap it, I mean, I think you could make it work. Bro. But sadly, the reality is that the NCAA will not allow any more dollars out of their pocket to leave.
Bro, I've been sitting in this house for too long because the more I sit here and think about what I just said, the more sense it makes to me, right?
They need to put a mask on and go somewhere. Just get out of the house.
Bro, because like I don't know, man. It would even things out across the board. It would solve the whole should college players be paid, yes or no. It solves a lot of problems, man. But you have to disperse that amongst all sports, right? So it couldn't just be football. But you adjust that with the revenue the sport brings in. I don't know. There's probably a way to do it, but like the more I sit here and think about it, that would actually solve so many issues with the sport. Competitiveness, paying players, viewership, interesting games, big-time matchups. I mean, there's no telling what would happen if Hawaii is able to pay a 5-star recruit $100,000 a year, right? And Alabama can only offer him 20 because they're out of space in their cap. Like, I don't know. That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm just saying that the more I sit here and think about it, the more I think that I'm an absolute genius.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
I see one flaw with it as I was thinking about it. But I just want to get your thoughts on it, and then we're going to talk it out. We're going to figure out how we could potentially solve this problem.
Okay, what?
So as we've talked about before, we were both high school athletes at one point. We went to the same high school, but why did we go to the same high school?
Zoning.
So hear me out. What if some way, somehow you could zone colleges to where you could only recruit in your zone? Okay.
Okay.
There has to be a catch because the issue that I thought of
is Texas would dominate every year.
Would be so good, but you got to hear me out on this. Okay. So like I thought about this and then I thought of like maybe a rebuttal argument would be like, for example, Texas. Everybody knows a lot of the greatest players come out of Texas. Okay. But if you're in Texas and the University of Texas has a zone, Texas Tech has a zone, Baylor, Houston, all those schools, TCU, SMU, everybody, they would eventually get split apart enough. Because when you think about it, when you're thinking about a state that big or schools that are usually like your Florida has a lot of good recruits, your California, New York, like Ohio, all those states, they have a lot of schools in them. So those guys would get split up. But when you think about it again, schools from smaller states, like I don't know any, I can't think of anything, but like North Dakota or Idaho. Okay, they're FBS school. Idaho. Is there even another school in Idaho that we can think of off the top of our head?
No.
Okay, so then Idaho would get every great player out of the state of Idaho.
Dude, I don't know. That makes sense.
There's got to be at least a couple that are like worth something. So I know that there's definitely flaws in this idea, but I figure there's some way where you could maneuver around it to where if all the talent gets split up, like we said, you can't win a national championship with two good players. So if all the best players in Florida, California, Texas, Ohio, they all get split up, then they don't have as much talent from top to bottom. They may have a few really high stars and then some other good players sprinkled in, but then you get a state like North Dakota, Wyoming, something like they may just get screwed and not be very good. But every now and then they can have a run of talent.
That's true.
Like we went to public high schools. Okay. Yeah. So our public high school, we can't just go grab random kids from around the state and get them to come play for us like some private schools can by offering them scholarships, tuition, whatever. They can come in and they can play for those schools, but they can't do that for us. But what happened when we were there was we got a really good run of talent that all came through at the same time from the same area, either one or the other middle school. There's only two that fed us. And all that talent came through from those two areas at one very specific time, and it worked out. And you've got to admit, we've played tons of schools that had one or two good players come through, and that was all good and well, but that's all that they had. So when you get schools like in Florida, Texas, all that again, then they may just have one or two every now and then. And if they have 40 good in the state that year, then 3 of them are going to go to Florida State, 3 of them are going to go to Florida, 3 of them are going to go to Florida Gulf Coast, 3 of them are going to go here and there, all over the place. So if they split up the talent, and you could like even go in and be specific as like Miami's a hotbed for recruiting, split Miami 3 ways if you can. Whatever the 3 schools that are closest to Miami, you get these 3 neighborhoods, you get these 3 neighborhoods, you get these 4. Have fun, make it work.
Yeah.
So
I mean, again, there's definitely some flaws with that one. But the moral of the story is that's better than what we've got going right now. Right now, it kind of sucks, right? The moral of the story is that something has got to change, or else no one's going to care anymore, man. No one is going to care. I'm starting to not care, and I absolutely love college football. I love it. But, like, I'm starting to not care.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing, like we said. That's the worst thing about this is it's just getting so bland. And we got to, again, applause. Good job, Alabama. Good job, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, whatever, those schools that are good every year. Congrats. You've done exactly what you were supposed to do. The coaches, you could not be better head coaches at the moment. You've taken your all-time great college and continued to make them an all-time great college. That's great for you and your career, but it sucks for the viewers, okay? That's just the moral. It sucks for us because we all know who's going to play at the very end, and one team like an LSU, who's been good before, don't get me wrong, has a crazy run of a year, dominates every single person they play, and then LSU immediately falls back off the table.
Yeah.
And that's what we see all the time with a lot of these big schools that have a big run if they're not a true blue blood of college football.
I absolutely agree. All right, bro. That's enough on the college football playoff and what we think about college, bro. Let's see. We've been going for about 45 minutes, maybe a little bit less. But I think now's a great time to get into our poll questions that we asked this week. So, excuse me there. I had to burp, but I didn't want to do it in the mic because I'm very polite. I'm very nice to you guys. And you, Massey. I'm very, very nice. Okay, so the first one we had, the first one that ever went out, okay, here was the question. The question was, if Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl with the Bucs, will you consider him the greatest quarterback of all time? Okay, so let's see, 24% of people said, I already do. I already consider Tom Brady the GOAT. That's fair. He probably, I mean, he is. In my book, he is. 21% of people said no chance. They weren't. They're just haters. They're just Tom Brady haters at this point. If he wins the Super Bowl with the Bucs, making it, I believe, his seventh Super Bowl, maybe.
I think so.
They're just saying no. Well, we hate Tom Brady. That's fine too. But 55% of people say that if Tom Brady, for some reason, can win the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will consider him to be the greatest quarterback of all time. What would you have selected on our poll? Actually, you probably did vote. What did you select?
I voted I already do.
That's the only right answer, in my humble opinion. That's never wrong. Is that, Tom Brady's the GOAT.
So the reasoning behind mine is, look, I am all over sports as far as like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. I have sports through my page all the time. I see people's opinions on this, on that, on whatever you can think of. I probably have seen a video or a tweet about it somewhere. And I've seen a lot of videos about this subject. That's actually probably why we ended up doing this Twitter poll. But anyways, I don't understand the logic of, you can have a more talented player that's not better. Okay. And hear me out on this. So like Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is a more talented quarterback than Tom Brady. He has a better arm. He's more mobile. But the thing is that Tom Brady has done it. He has done whatever. If you ask any NFL player what their goal for that season is, it is to win the Super Bowl. If that's not the first answer out of their mouth, then they are wrong. And they just shouldn't be on that team anymore. But he's gone out there. He has won. And that's all that matters. His stats aren't as pretty as Rodgers sometimes. He doesn't make the crazy long Hail Mary throws that Rodgers does. He doesn't run away from stuff like Lamar Jackson does. And that's fine, because you know why? He went into a system in New England and now in Tampa Bay, and he has produced in the systems. And they may be similar, but there's a reason that they have that system. It's because he is so good at what he does that people make systems for him to succeed, because they know if he succeeds, they in turn will succeed. So I understand Rodgers may have thrown more touchdowns in a season, or Mahomes may have a higher completion percentage, and that's fine. That's great. Congrats to them. But Tom Brady has done this for the last 20 years and has very rarely wavered off of his path of success. And I saw this thing earlier, was like, what is it? He's made like 9 Super Bowls out of 20 years, like 45% or something.
Yeah.
So he has played in a Super Bowl in 45%. He's almost as likely to make the Super Bowl as he is to not make the Super Bowl. And there are 32 teams. That is hard to do.
It's pretty insane.
If you don't think he's the greatest of all time, I think either you're a huge fanboy of a certain team and that quarterback plays for your team or has played for your team, or you need to change your what you categorize as the greatest or what makes people the greatest. What is your opinion?
My opinion on it is the exact same. The only correct answer is that Tom Brady's already the greatest quarterback of all time. And yeah, you can resort to him winning, right? Well, there's more people that have probably won more Super Bowls than him or more championships, right? I mean, there's probably somebody out there from way back when that has more in theory. Maybe there's a coach too. I don't know. That's not where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is there's not another quarterback, as far as I know anyway, that elevates his teammates to the level that Tom Brady does, right? Tom Brady has never, I mean, he had Gronk for all those years, who's elite, right? But you surround Tom Brady with a bunch of, slightly above average guys, they're going to look elite because Tom Brady is that good. And I think that's how you measure the success of a quarterback. Yes, he has also, and he's won a lot because of it, but the moral of the story is that Tom Brady elevates his teammates to a whole nother level, man. And when you're one person, like that's why so many people wanted him in the offseason. He could have gone anywhere and he'd be in the playoffs right now. I promise you. He could have gone anywhere to any team. I'd venture to say that the Jets would have been competitive if Tom Brady was their quarterback. That's a hot take, maybe even the Jacks, but that's how highly I think of Tom Brady, man. And so that is why, in my opinion, the only correct answer is that he's already the GOAT because he just makes everybody else so good.
Can I piggyback off that real quick?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go into the most common argument when it comes to greatest of all time, no matter what the sport is. If you're a LeBron fan, you don't think Jordan's the greatest, and everybody says, oh, well, he has 6 rings, whatever, right? Everybody always argues about rings. And everybody always makes the statement, if your person that you like better doesn't have as many rings, your first statement is, well, they can only win the championship if they have a good team. Okay, well, hear me out. This is why Tom Brady's teams have been so good. Like you just said, he makes everybody better, right?
Right.
That's because, and a lot of people point to the defensive side of the ball. Like New England has had great defenses the whole time he's been there. You know why they can afford those great defenses? Because like you said, he is throwing to nobodies. He is thrown to a few very good players like Randy Moss and Gronk.
Literally.
And Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
And if I'm leaving somebody out, blow me up on Twitter. I don't care. But essentially, those are the top three that he's thrown to in my book, at least, that I can think of. Right. But the reason that they can throw one or two of those guys out there at the same time and then a bunch of other nobodies, and his best running back he's had has been James White. And there's somebody back in the day I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm blanking. Anyways, he's had like one or two pretty good running backs here and there. Maybe it was Marshall Faulk. I don't know. Anyways, regardless.
Asking the wrong guy, bro.
I think he may have gone there late in his career. Somebody like that. Somebody with a big name. Anyways, he hasn't had that great of running backs, and he doesn't need great running backs because, again, the system works with Tom Brady in it, and so he doesn't need all those. So when they save money on backs like James White and Sony Michel and LeGarrette Blount, who are castaways from other teams or draft picks that they've drafted that they've held for cheap on their rookie deals and such, they know that they can get the job done on that side of the ball because Tom's out there. Now, if you put those exact same players out there with an average quarterback, you get a Jets. And the Jets just suck on all sides of the ball, every facet of the game pretty much. But, again, the reason that they can go cheap on the offense, they have a great offensive line and Tom Brady and maybe a good receiver. Because I don't think that they even would have overlapped with Randy Moss. So I'm pretty sure it's just been Julian Edelman and Gronk. And then all of the other skill players are just washes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
The reason that they can be so great on defense is because he's out there. And I know that's a really weird comparison because you're like, what does the quarterback have to do with the defense? But it's the salary cap. That's the correlation.
Yeah. Last thing, and then we'll probably go into third strike because we've been going for about 50 minutes, I would say, maybe, unless we can add something. We don't have a time limit. But our second poll question of the week, and we'll come out with more, so be looking out for it on Twitter at The Common Fan. Go ahead and follow us. Is would you rather have your favorite college football team win a national championship or your favorite NFL team win a Super Bowl? It was very close, 48 to 52%. And 52% of the people say they'd rather see a Super Bowl win. And here's my theory. Here's my theory on that. These people don't mean that, okay? The people that have said, except for, I know you voted for Super Bowl because, for whatever reason. And I'll let you get into, tighten up. Yeah, go, whatever. Here's my theory on that, okay? I think that we're going to have to run this poll again at some point because this was right before the Titans were in the playoffs. It was right after the Tennessee Volunteers were absolutely probably the worst team in the SEC. Really not good at all. Just a very terrible season. Really bad. Not good.
Vanderbilt was terrible in there as well.
Yeah, sorry. But, Tennessee was just so bad. They were just really awful, terrible coach. Really, 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 really bad, right? Tennessee was really bad this year. Not good.
How bad were they, Dunston?
They were not good at all. Just not. Tennessee was bad, right? And they'll probably be really, really bad next year, Okay. I'm sorry. I really got off on just a Tennessee hate tangent. But this was right after the Tennessee Vols had a bad season, right before the Titans were in the playoffs, right? And they're like, oh, well, we want the Titans to win the Super Bowl. We hate the Vols, So they voted for Super Bowl. But we're in the South, bro. College football is king. If you voted on this poll and you're not Nathan Massey and you said Super Bowl, you're lying to yourself. You hated the Vols this season. You said, screw them. I'm a Titans fan, ride or die. I'd rather win a Super Bowl, but you don't mean it, and because it's obviously national championship all day.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting that argument, and that's a very valid argument as far as just being most of our followers are from Tennessee. Therefore, Tennessee fans for the most part.
Dang, that really sucks.
We have a few other colleges sprinkled in there, but we are all consistently pretty much Titans fans. There's a few outliers, but the majority of our following is Titans fans. So yes, I understand that. And college sports in general, but mainly college football is king. Sports in general are king in the South, but college football is a religion in the South, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's I understand that, and I agree with that. And I think this is probably one of the polls and just questions and conversations we've had as a friend in our friend group that we've disagreed on, but have respectfully disagreed on. We always respect each other, but we've gotten into some heated discussions about different opinions sometimes.
Yeah, no.
But
That also
my
let me point out. Let me point out. That's why I said in you're not Nathan Massey, because like me and Massey have talked about this a lot, and I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
Massey's more of a Titan, and he knows that I love the Tennessee Titans, but I just love my Razorbacks more, and he loves the Titans more than he loves Mississippi State or Vanderbilt and even Tennessee on some occasions. Like that's just his team. So I respect Massey's opinion because we've already gone at each other about this before.
Yeah. So I will say, as far as just me personally, because this is my personal opinion. So I know a lot of my friends who are also very avid sports fans and have families that have grown up. Like we said, it's King in the South, that have grown up with families that have one team that they all support. Okay. So I grew up with a dad who's an Auburn fan because he's from Alabama, a mom who's a Mississippi State fan because she's from Mississippi, a stepdad who is a Vanderbilt fan because he's from Middle Tennessee and Lewisburg, Tennessee. Shout out Lewisburg. So I have grown up with multiple influences as far as who my favorite college is. I ended up at some point in time deciding it was Mississippi State. I don't know why, but that's just what happened.
I think Matt had a lot to do with it. Had to, because
Yeah.
y'all were best friends growing up.
Yeah, and my best friend Matthew was also Matt, y'all know Matt, obviously.
Everybody knows Matt.
The boy Matt is also a Mississippi State fan. So we had that in common. So yeah, that probably did have a factor into it, right? So one consistent that I've had in my family is all of us have been Titans fans. And additionally, we have been Titans season ticket holders or have at least bought season tickets since I think I was like 4. And I think that we did the math one time. Me and my stepdad talked about it. And I've also been to tons of games with my real dad as well. And I think we went through it and I've missed like 6 games over like a 16-year span of home games.
Jeez.
And I know like Dunston, for example, has gone to multiple games in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah.
So you have that experience and that nostalgia of growing up a Razorback fan and going to Fayetteville for the big games.
Yeah.
Whereas in my experience, I've grown up a Titans fan going to Titans games. So I think just over time, just growing up in that environment and being at all the games, knowing all the players, just being in that atmosphere has made my fanship grow. I mean, obviously, as you can see, literally everything I have on is blue, like my flag, my hoodie, my hat. There's a flag up here that you can't see that actually has Eddie George and Steve McNair on it. I clearly, and actually have an Eddie George signed jersey on the wall next to me as well. So I clearly, cool. Yeah, it's pretty sick. So, anyways, I've just grown up being a humongous Titans fan, and nobody has ever interfered with that fanship with another close fanship. So I think that I've just grown up like that, and I've gotten a weird obsession with how much I absolutely love the Titans and how much I follow and know all of the players from God knows where and what positions they play.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why, and I just think it'd be sick for the Titans to win a Super Bowl. I would absolutely love to see Broadway during a Super Bowl parade, because I don't think people understand how fun Nashville is and how big Nashville is in football. I think we're a smaller market team, so we don't get the respect that a lot of people think. But I think that the draft opened a lot of eyes, and luckily I was lucky enough to be there, and I saw it, and it was insane. And I think that it would absolutely we would burn down Broadway if we had a Super Bowl parade on Broadway. It would just be insane. So I would love to experience that. So please, Titans, make my tweet come true in the next 5 years. I think I tweeted 3 years ago now. We've got 2 more years to make me right, and I would absolutely love for y'all to do that. But even if it's in 5 years, I promise I'll be there.
Oh yeah, I'll absolutely be there too. Like I wouldn't miss it. I mean, I love the Titans. But like you said, everything there is to know about the Titans. They're 5th string, long snapper and just random stuff. But that's how I am with the Razorbacks. Like I keep up with everything. I watch all the press conferences. I watch, what they say after practice, what reporters are saying during practice, who's out, who are they recruiting. I know all that. So I put more time and effort. That's the kicker. That's the kicker. Here's the kicker, Massey, is I put more time and effort into being a Razorback fan. I care more. And you put more time and effort into being a Titans fan. You do your research. You listen to press conferences. I'm sure you do. You read articles. Everything that I do with the Razorbacks, you do with the Titans. And I think that that's what people really care about is whoever you work harder for, rooting for, I should say, is who's going to be, your baby. That's your dog, right? So I think that a lot of people, and like I said, we need to rerun this poll because I really think it was biased after the season that it was, and everybody's college team, if you weren't Bama, was bad. I'm not going to act like the Razorbacks were any good. They won 3 games too, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But even I still picked the national championship. But yeah, I guess that that kind of brings us to the end. That's pretty much all I have. Do you have anything else to add before we get into third strike?
No, I was just going to say something to finish this off. I think that, like you said, the skewered numbers potentially in that poll could have been addressed with, like, maybe since we've been good this year and we have some bigger names for the first time in a while, we have people on our team that everybody actually knows, and not even just in our fan base, but just across the media. So they may just have been more exposed to the Titans here recently. And they may have seen more of these press conferences on the news because people care. Like, when people care, that's what gets airtime. So that's the way that works. So if the Titans are good, you're obviously going to see them on Twitter, on TV, on every platform you can think of more. So I agree. So we may, not during draft, not during like April-ish, but definitely, let's say like we're going to find a middle point between the really big lead up to college football kicking off and the NFL draft. And we're going to find a middle point between that, like the graphic, the middle point right there.
Yeah.
And we're going to put a poll right here, right in the middle, right there. Yep. Right in the middle.
I don't know what we're doing, but yeah,
no,
exactly.
We're just starting right in the middle, and we're going to see what the numbers are then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, right there.
I don't know what's going on, bro. Okay, guys. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of the Common Fan. I hope you all enjoyed. Before we get out of here, of course, we're gonna do third strike. So, Massey, go ahead and hit me with your third strike, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. So obviously, after everything we just talked about, I've been keeping up with all the Titans stuff, even after the season ended. So I say there are a lot of theories going around about what the Titans need to do, how we need to improve. We can't miss our window, all that good stuff. I think that's something that is going to have a huge impact on us this offseason and potentially even next, depending on how the year goes. It's not even necessarily the players we may lose. Hear me out, okay? And it may be why we lose the players that we lose or why we don't bring in certain players. Our front office and our coaching staff as a whole has done a phenomenal job over the past couple of years. And the worst part about that is when they do that great, they get hired for more money in a better position somewhere else. Yeah. So our player personnel guys, some of them are going to become GMs here soon, or at least take a step up from wherever they are now. And I think there's already 2 of our front office guys that may leave for GM jobs, or at least a step up, like I said. And then we may see the end of Art Smith. Art Smith may have called his last game for the Titans, which would absolutely be terrible. And so I think that we have to put a lot of effort into our coaching staff and our front office once again to bring in the right people in order to develop and draft and sign the right players, because you can't sign the players are nothing without great schemes. We've seen that before. We've had very talented players, very bad schemes. And again, but on the vice versa of that, players are terrible, coaches are great, nothing happens. We have to find the right mix. So we have to get the right people in the building to capitalize on the immense amount of talent we have in the locker room right now.
Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Could not have said it better myself. All right, so listen, my third strike is pretty simple, guys. I hope you listened to what we said earlier about DMing us your numbers, or, just DMing us in general if you want to be on the show.
At least get in contact with us.
Get in contact with us, man. Tell us what you think about the show. Tell us what you want to see. Go ahead and volunteer to be called and be on the show. You could listen to yourself when you're listening to us. I mean, who knows what's going to happen. But please do that, man. I'm really serious. So if you feel like I'm talking to you, like you're on the fence, maybe I kind of do, but I'm kind of scared. Stop being scared. Step up to the plate and let's call you. Okay. That's pretty much all we have for the Common Fan, guys. Thank you all for listening. As usual, we'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Okay, guys, listen, we came up with this right after we stopped recording, okay?
Literally immediately after.
Literally, I haven't gotten up yet. So, Massey, go ahead and explain what you just said, okay? Just listen, guys. Just listen. Just sit back, relax, and listen.
All right, so we're putting this out in the sense of how you can show us your appreciation for the work we put in and how much we can appreciate you for appreciating us, okay? So this is how this is going to work. We're going to have 2 levels of fanship here at the Common Fan. 2 levels, okay? This level, you're level 1. You're the Common Fan. You're with us. You're the Common Fans, okay?
Right.
We love you.
Oh my God, we love you.
Yeah, we love you. Still listen, still like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But hear me out. If you want to be level 2, aka the Uncommon Fan, okay? If you're the Uncommon Fan, then you follow us on all social medias. You use the promo codes that we give you in all of our ad reads.
Yes.
Right? You support the boys. You retweet our podcast. So that way we can grow a bigger following and do better things for you. All of this is for you. We're doing this for you.
Oh,
okay?
Yeah.
So you do all the stuff that we tell you. Like, subscribe, share, DM us your number. That's just added on. And not for anything weird. We're just trying to get you on the podcast. So if you do all those things, not including DM, that's another step, okay? But anyways, you do all the cool stuff. We're going to start labeling you as the Uncommon Fan. And I promise you there will be perks. We're going to figure out what the perks are. And whether that be if you are wanting to be on the Common Fan with us, we're going to pick the Uncommon Fans well before we pick the Common Fans, okay?
Hey, listen, bro.
All of that. So we're going to make these sections, and y'all can earn this. And y'all can show how much y'all love the show. So just work with us.
It's completely in your hands, guys. It's completely in your hands. I think I lost
Help
Massey.
us.
Oh, there he is. Wait.
Help
I think
you.
He's kind of gone, but I think he said, help us help you.
We're here. We're good.
Oh, he's back. He said, help us help you. I don't know. He's still frozen. But listen, guys, if you're a Common Fan, man, we love you. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. I can't even begin to express how weird it is to me. He's still coming in at random, guys. But I can't even express to you like how cool I think it is that people will actually sit down and listen to me and Massey talk and Braxton. You know, like you guys actually care about us. So and that's Common Fan, and I love you guys. You know what? But be uncommon, bro.
All you gotta do is press a couple buttons. That's all we're asking.
Buttons. Tell a couple friends. Tell us if you want to come on the show, man. We're gonna definitely be picking those uncommon guys a lot quicker than we will the common guys. But that's it. I don't know where this is gonna go in. Sorry. What are you saying, Massey?
I'm just saying it's free to be uncommon. We're not asking you to pay. We're not asking for your money.
No, we don't have
money yet. Hear me on the yet. Okay, we're working on that. Yep. We'll get that figured out at some point in time.
Yep.
Probably when we get more followers, aka y'all help us get more followers. And then again, you're uncommon. And bada bing, bada boom, you're on the show with the boys. You're extremely uncommon at that point. We'll figure out a new title for you.
There you go.
You'll get shouted out and you'll get to be on the pod. You'll be more likely to get all of the free, all cool stuff that we end up doing. You're going to be involved. But just make sure, like, subscribe, share, use the code. What is it, Dunston? Throw it in real quick for me.
TCF20 for 5% off your purchase at store.avcare.com.
Boom, right there. That's all you got to do.
If you want into this elite club, guys, it's elite, okay? If you want in this elite club, go ahead and start showing your appreciation, bro. We'll let you in. That's how you get into the club. And it's not a secret club, bro.
Oh, it's right here. Everybody's seen this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know where we're going to put this in, man, but if you found this and if you feel something tugging you, you know, you're like, maybe that should be me. You're right. It should be you. Thanks.
And if you're hearing this, you're teeter-tottering. You're halfway between common and uncommon.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
Right here, I'm saying this into the mic like this, okay? This is your moment. This is the time to be uncommon. Do as we like.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what he's saying.
Share, subscribe, tell a friend, do all that cool stuff.
Yep. All right.
There it is.
I don't know what he's saying, guys. That's all we got. Peace.